Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Episode 4 of Inside Star Wars: The Old Republic. We're just a bunch of random people hanging out, chatting about the game, and maybe we'll make a couple of jokes and have a good time. So, I'm going to start by introducing myself. I'm Brad Behrens. I'm sitting in for Sandy Smith tonight. And I'm going to give it off to Fazcart to introduce himself.
Hello, Wait, what's that? Oh, that's my name in OBS. Hi, I'm Fazcart, also known as FC. My real name is Ursula Fraser. Missing Sin, but hopefully she'll be back next week. But we have other guests to take us out of this thing.
I'm Chris Lolokio Hammond. I am the raid officer with Pillars of Ashla. I play a sawbone scoundrel in SWTOR, so I guess I'm the first healer on the panel. Hi, guys.
And I, of course, am Joshua Joshroom Smith, staff writer for SWTORlife.com, all-around badass, beard handler.
Fantastic. Let's get right into the meat of this thing. Let's go straight to explosive conflict with Josh.
Well, explosive conflict is a pain in my butt. Because the only few times I've ever done it, it seems like I just slam my head against the first boss. Then again, I don't raid as much as some other people just because I have real-life obligations like work during the time that we raid. The new mechanics are great. It's definitely, I think, some of the arguments that some of the higher-level raiding guilds have had early on in SWTOR's life, that some of the operations were just too easy. And I think this really counters that. Now, whether that's just new mechanics people are getting used to or because they actually up the difficulty level, may be an argument for someone who raids a little more to say, but I think it answers that question fairly well.
So, explosive conflict. I liked it. Unfortunately, I had the misfortune of starting on hard mode, there, when we first tried it on. But, yeah, it was an interesting experience. We banged our head against the first boss. It was the two, Gord, I kept pronouncing their name, John and Toth.
There you go.
And, yeah. So, yeah, and it's good. It was good to have something new to do, or something instead of just the two operations. And once we get past them, everything else seemed like it was. It's probably my favorite operations right now, but maybe it's partly because it's new. But other than, I think I really like it because there's the second boss, like the two tanks. It's really simple with mechanics. You can get used to it pretty quickly, and it's not overly complicated. Like you don't have to dodge balls, lightning balls, and drag the boss over to some place and stuff like that. So yeah, it's simpler in my opinion, and that's probably why I like it better.
Well, yeah, I think it's fair to say that everyone kind of likes explosive conflict. I mean, new content is shiny for a reason. It definitely follows through on some of the mechanics that were hinted at in other hard mode flashpoints and other operations. Like I find myself when I'm trying to give advice on how to handle a fight in explosive conflict, I'm like, oh, do you remember the False Emperor fight? With HK, well, some of the fights from False Emperor or, Battle of Ilum. So it feels like explosive conflict is sort of the evolution of SWTOR. Like we're seeing mechanics we've seen before, but it's just more difficult. And all these things are put into, one fight. Like like you said, Zorn and Toth fight is really hard. It's like the gateway to the new content. It's sort of like the Rancor fight was with Karaga's Palace. You just have this really hard opener, and after that it sort of seems to level off, but new content is shiny.
I really like the fact that the final boss drops a new customization for Kaizen. That's super, because I think some of Kaizen's customizations are just a little lame, as is my opinion. It's just a palette swap, but not really anything new. I like that it's got the shiny little headgear stuff, and it's something I wish they would implement on some more bosses. Like, let's drop a fabricator skin for my trooper droid. That'd be cool. or some other stuff. It's something more that I'd like to see in the future. Maybe a Wookiee boss, so SWTOR can get something, or just anything more like that offers me a little more customization of my companions, which everybody's got one running around, so you just see multiples of the same looking companion all the time. So more abilities to customize those are great, and including that as a new Flashpoint loot drop I thought was fantastic.
Oh, definitely. Anytime they add cosmetic gear, especially just like, the big hut hat we had with the last one, I think that's awesome. It's a little trophy of achievement.
At the same time with customizations, as time goes on and people start to get better at it, or more people start to do it, you're going to end up seeing more and more of that same customization running around. So you start off with the first one, and there's only 3 options when you first start, and you pick one of those 3 options, as does everybody else. So now, as you go along in the game, you find other customizations. Excuse me. So eventually, it'll all come full circle where if somebody likes it, they're going to run with it. If they don't, they're going to use something else, and I like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, like I think in the hard mode, I'm not sure about normal mode, but definitely in the hard mode of explosive content, I hear that they dropped an egg for the the pets that they have now. I'm not sure which egg it is. It's not the orchid, I'm pretty sure. It might be the yellow one, but yeah, I'm gonna definitely try to get one of those.
The yellow orchid, I think you mean?
Yeah, I think it's still an orchid.
Yeah, it's definitely a little chocobo. I refuse to call it orchid. It's a little chocobo.
I guess we're going to end up moving on to our next topic then, aren't we? How about let's go ahead and pick one randomly here and go with the Matrix Cube bug that we all found out about today. Fastcart, what do you think?
I haven't patched. I haven't logged in or anything. I'm waiting for them to fix that, because that's like, besides my Ricardo gear and Black Hole gear, that's like one of my main gear pieces. I had it for a month now. It's one of my favorite. So yeah, I don't want to take any chances with it, so I'm not logging in, not passing until they fix it.
It's a big pain in the ass for people who raid and PvP players as well, doing high-end PvP. And that's something that Fastcard just said. That's a lot of people. What a lot of people are doing since they heard about it are just not logging in and patching until another patch comes out and hopefully fixes it. However, it's not that serious for people who don't do that high-end content. Like if you're just logging on to do dailies or maybe do some flash bursts, something like that, it's not that big of a deal. I could definitely see entire guilds holding off on doing raiding because people don't want to log in and lose that Matrix Cube just because of it. It's a huge bug. That's a big problem for a lot of people. Hopefully it gets fixed in the patch that's supposed to be being deployed tonight. But it's definitely something they need to get on ASAP, because if that sticks around for a while, you're going to have people just not playing the game.
Well, the other thing, too, is it sort of speaks to an underlying issue. I mean, the thing that everyone hones in on is the Matrix Cube, and that is really unfortunate, especially, like you said, since it affects the more hardcore crowd, the raiders and the high-end PvPers. But what it's affecting is mission items. So you have people who are going through the leveling process, or might even be new to the game, who are having quest items disappear. So it's a huge bug. In some ways, it can be game breaking. It might not just be the items on Matrix Cube that give you that little extra boost. It can be something that just completely halts your progress. So hopefully the maintenance tonight fixes it. Hopefully this is just a one-off thing that we don't have to talk about again, and everyone who has something that was lost is restored. Because otherwise, it's bad, very bad.
Yeah, because if mission items are just disappearing, you can't even say go play your alt to like, oh, well, the Matrix Cube disappeared on my main character, so I guess I'll just go play some alts for a while. But if mission items are just disappearing left and right and you get stuck on your progress, you might just get to a point where on every single one of your characters you just can't do anything, so you're just slamming head against the wall because you can't make any progress in your game. We'll see how long it lasts.
I think it's important to note that BioWare has stated in one of their dev posts that it's only disappeared when you zone into another area. So I don't know if you can stay on fleet and not have it disappear, or if you like in a fleet and go to mission, that counting zoning. So yeah, there is a way to get around it. It just I'd rather not take a risk.
Well, actually, when I logged in just a little bit ago, because I had to talk to some folks, I always have my Matrix Q equipped, so this could be why. You know, if it hadn't been equipped, it had been my inventory, maybe I would have been safe. But I logged in and I was on my ship, so I didn't move or anything. As soon as I logged in, it was off my character sheet, wasn't in my missing items page, so it had disappeared without me progressing to a new zone.
So then it was tied to your login as well.
Yeah. As soon as I logged in on my my main character, it was gone.
Which is what a lot of people have said. And I think something that I've heard some people say before, that even if they say, if you get in, take your matrix cube off, but I think there's some people have reported it's even disappeared out of your inventory. So even just taking it off, it might save you, it might not. And something Fastcar brought in earlier, yeah, you could stay on the fleet and do nothing, I guess. Going into a PvP match is counted as going into a different zone. So, I mean, if it stays on there, if you want to keep it and you want to risk that you're not ever going to lose it, you really can't do anything. You just have to weigh whether you want to play the game without it or just not play the game. Like I said, hopefully it's something that gets fixed right away and we don't have to deal with this problem for very long. Get on it, BioWare.
Yeah, I mean they dropped the ball and it's in their court now. They already have a maintenance planned out. Hopefully it gets resolved. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, at least they're getting on it right away, and it's not like oh well we'll wait for a couple days. They're like oh happened this morning. Yeah, we're gonna patch it tonight and we're gonna get that fixed. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll just be a one-day instance and we won't have to worry about it in the future. But hopefully it's not something that pops up again.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
So now that we've all said hopefully, party-specific loot drop mechanics, I think it'd be the next good one. Loki, you start.
Well, this has been an issue for a while, and it's one of those things where they keep coming back and they're like, hey, we fixed it. It's good to go. And we're like, not so much. And pretty much for those who don't know what I'm talking about, it's when you go and you do a hard mode flashpoint, you do an operation, and you have, 3 consulars in a night, and trooper gear drops. It drops in one piece of gear that you do not have a character in the raid for, or the hard mode run, or even just a regular flashpoint run. So pretty much it's just a game giving you gear that no one needs. And in some instances, that's all right. You can get a companion gear out of it, or you can rip the mods out, whatever. But in a lot of cases, it's completely not helpful, and especially in the case of hard mode flashpoints, where you run an hour-long hard mode flashpoint, and you get one piece of Kalumi gear at the end, and that one piece of Kalumi gear is good for absolutely nobody. It's extremely frustrating. So I really hope that one of these times when they say, hey, it's fixed, it actually is fixed.
Yeah, and one of the things that was brought up in this week's the most recent Q&A was the Sentinel Guardian or Marauder. I can't think of the Sith side version of the tank.
Or Juggernaut.
Juggernaut, yeah, that's the one. Jeez. Where since depending on which spec they are, the dual wielders get the medium armor, and then the tanks get the heavy armor. That sometimes they'll only ever drop heavy armor. So if you're a Marauder or Sentinel going into your Flashpoint or Raid or whatever, you're not getting any gear because all the gear is dropping is heavy gear. I mean, it's still like you have to be a Sith Warrior or a Jedi Knight to equip it, but because you aren't that specific advanced class, you can't do anything. And they're really getting kind of screwed right there. Luckily, I play Consular, and it seems like gear just drops for Consulars and Inquisitors constantly. We get everything. It seems like there's 1 or 2 pieces dropped for every boss that's killed in pretty much any operation that I've ever been in. It's fantastic.
Well, my favorite thing with loot drops, like getting weird loot drops that aren't necessarily for your advanced class, and this is something I was kind of disappointed with Papa Zolar, because Georg Zolar came on the dev tracker and said, no, this is working as intended, is we get gear that really doesn't work for anybody. And they say, well, there might be a companion that could benefit, like, and I'm talking specifically about like cunning gear with shield rating on it. That doesn't benefit any player character, and it doesn't really, to my knowledge, I think there's one companion on the Empire side that can use it, but doesn't really benefit from it. So there's weird itemization going on in general, where there's just things that don't work for anybody. But the bigger issue is the not getting drops when you have 3 out of 4 advanced classes there, and you get a drop that works for none of them.
Yeah, for me it's like I'm leveling a trooper, and I'm the Vanguard AC. So when I'm trying to level up and I'm getting reward, they're giving me tank specific reward, and I'm a DPS back, and also similar on my Jedi Guardian, I'm a DPS there also, and I get a lot of tank specific gear there. So even though it is AC specific, it's not exactly toward my what I would want. And also, I mean, Kira, there's only so much gear I can give her before it gets ridiculous, because I mean, she's all custom out. I can't really give her anything else at this point.
So you've already pimped your companion?
Basically.
It's pimped Kira out. There's only so much they can do about giving stuff for your specific spec. I mean, as far as the advanced class thing goes. One thing that kind of, it doesn't bug me because I'm not a new player, but there's times where I'm bringing up an alt and I'm running through the very first flashpoint in the game, and I go through it and no gear drops for anybody who's running, which for me, I've seen the bug before, so I'm like, all right, it's irritating, but whatever. But you got to think for brand new people coming into the game who's like, oh, okay, we'll give SWTOR a try. And they get up like, all right, we're gonna do the first flashpoint. And they go through, it's like, why didn't I get any gear for any of my characters? And that's kind of a big turnoff. So it's something they said in the Q&A. Oh no, it's working as intended. It's not working as intended. It's just not. Saying that is just a bold-faced lie. So whatever it is that's doing that, causing gear to drop for people who, or even people whose their companions can't even benefit from it either. So it just makes no sense to me sometimes. That really needs to get fixed. It's irritating to put all that work in and then nobody comes away with anything new and shiny.
And I think that's where the real issues lies in the flashpoints. In the leveling game, like you said, people coming into the game for the first time, if they hit something like that, it's a real smack in the face. And then hard mode flashpoints too. I think we can kind of deal with it in an operation if we get something, because you have 16 people there, someone's going to find a use for it, or it's going to be used somehow. But in a flashpoint setting, there's times when it's just absolutely no value to anyone, and in the leveling game, that's just rough. That's just rough to put that kind of time in and get nothing from it. And I think that's why a lot of folks kind of gave up on running flashpoints while they level. And that's a shame, because that's some of the best, in my opinion, some of the best content in the game, and it's really great training, like I said earlier, mechanics for raids.
Well, you don't get nothing. You get a nice big repair bill.
Yeah,
if you die,
that's about it.
Some vendor trash.
My credits.
It'd be nice if you end up walking away with a couple of acquaintances you could turn into friends. That's worth more than gear, if you ask me.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. But
I mean, it is an MMO, wrapped in a something. I lost it.
Wrapped in a big shiny Star Wars package.
Wait, towards an MMO? I thought it was a single player game.
Oh, you were opening up a big old can of worms right there, FC. We're just gonna walk away.
Don't make me go.
Don't feed the trolls, man. Don't feed the trolls.
We like pizza. So what do you guys think of the mentoring question from the Q&A?
I like it.
Fantastic.
I really liked the idea from a concept. I really liked it in past MMOs like EverQuest 2. I think they use it pretty well. And again, pretty much the idea is if you have your main, you're level 50, and you want to play with a new friend who's starting in the game off, brand spanking new, you can bring your level down in line with them. So you can go run S-List again at level 10, and help your friend out. And the way they've done it in other games is you can usually keep your gear and just everything scaled down. So it's really nice and convenient. Plus, there's usually an incentive for it where there's an experience bonus. So I hope we see like the same things we've seen in other games here in SWTOR. And like the lore setting for it is just perfect. You have the whole master and Padawan, or master and apprentice setting. Or even if you're not a force user, you can say, hey, there's Sarge, or there's the captain. So I think it's a perfect addition to the game. It really should be there.
It doesn't even have to be limited to you playing with a new player. If you're the type of person who doesn't like to level any sort of alt and you just like to have your one main character and that's all you want to focus on, but a friend of yours is like, hey, I want to level this person. Hey, will you come help me run some flashpoints? It's also a big advantage for, I think it'll help finding groups for flashpoints, because sometimes you get the problem where, oh, I want to come help you, but I am way over leveled for this, and if I come help, you're going to get a massive kick to your experience, which really kind of destroys the point of it. Getting rid of that, I think, will be great for helping people find groups of flashpoints. It will be helpful, to, at least in the instances that I personally have seen, where that's come up a lot, where you're just too over-leveled for it, and I don't want you to come help me because I'll get nothing out of it, especially since gear doesn't drop correctly.
Yeah, exactly.
As it is already. Now, you mentioned something about like an experience bonus, and we're talking about legacy experience for the 50 or an experience bonus for the lower level friend?
I don't think they've said anything concrete. I'm just working off of what I've seen in other games. I would think that would be the way it would work is, you know, if you had a level 50 character, any experience gain you get is obviously going to be converted to legacy experience. But I think that should be there. There should be a little bit of incentive to do that. There's already an incentive to group. You already get a group bonus experience, you know, so it's always better to bring a friend. It is an MMO, like we said. But I think there probably should be like a little percentage buff, you know, for helping out a friend to mentor down. Because other than helping out a friend, there probably won't be any other benefit for the higher level character. You're not going to see, you know, you're not going to get a gear drop from level 10 S-list and it's going to scale up. You know, you're not going to see that. That would be game breaking in many respects. But there should be a way to get, you know, more legacy experience out of it. There should be something other than just helping someone. There should be an in-game reward incentive for it.
Brought this up earlier, but I mean, just like it could breathe new life into running Flashpoint, because as you say, they are getting kind of stale at this point. Like a lot of people only run S-list or Black Talon for the social point, and it's not really, it's, you know, not really fun. It takes like maybe 10 or 15 minutes to run it as a level 50 character, but if you want to join in and help someone random, or like a pug or someone who really wants the gear and just help out, yeah, I mean, that could be cool.
Yeah, you can still get your social points or your light side, dark side points and help someone lower level. I think another really interesting aspect of this is that I think it's great for the roleplay community as well, for the people that like to do that master apprentice or that experienced bounty hunter with new bounty hunter, or whatever way you want to look at it. It's a great way for them to come back and help and still have that, well, I'm the higher level one, I have these more powers and the feeling of superiority, and you're kind of bringing up your apprentice or trainee or whatever you want. So it works great from that side of it too. I think a lot of people sometimes look over the role-playing aspect of things because they're a large group, but they're a small percentage of the people that play the game, and they don't always get a lot of love. And this is something that not only helps the regular players, but I think it's great for role players as well. So, bonus. I hope they get it in as soon as possible.
I definitely agree there. I definitely think there should be a little bit more love for the role players. I mean, I know following the official forums leading up to the game, that was a really big concern is, you know, you're bringing in a BioWare MMO and everyone's the hero of this galaxy. So it's kind of a hard you know, starting point to roleplay successfully. So mentoring, the family tree, these are all little baby steps to really helping out the role-playing community, which, like you said, they're not always the biggest group, and they're not always the most vocal either, unfortunately. They don't always get things handed to them. Like it seems usually PvPers or raiders are going to be the first ones to get changes done because there's more people doing it than there are people who are crafting their little stories. But it should be there. They play the game too. They pay for it. They should definitely have all the same tools to get what they want.
I don't necessarily know if I would agree that they're not vocal. There's just less voices making noise.
Yeah.
The PvPers and raiders not trying to knock on you guys, but you guys are the biggest whiny crybabies in the game when it comes to something that doesn't help you or something that you think you've been slighted in some way. They're the first people that hop on the forums like, this BioWare ruined my game and blah, 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 blah. And role players are like, hey, we want some help too. We're just not as loud. There's just not as many of us.
Or is obnoxious or getting into fights all the time. Flame wars. That's why I wear flame retardant clothing at all time. You can't light a demon on fire.
Nice.
I'm officially out of ideas.
Rap.
Do you want to wrap it?
Well,
I wrap it.
it's usually a safe idea.
Surprise subject.
Well, I get. How about closing comment?
Closing comments. What'd you do for the 4th? Loki, what'd you do for the 4th?
I did absolutely nothing. I meant to play Star Wars, but I ended up watching Netflix, making cupcakes. It was nice.
Josh.
Well, I was going to play Star Wars, but instead I saw The Avengers and found out my wife was pregnant. So that was pretty awesome.
Everybody clap.
Yes, woo, yay for me.
Hey.
I have sex and make babies, woo.
Shiny.
I'm still of the argument that if we have twins, since we found out on Star Wars Day, that we have to name them Luke and Leia. She's not going for it right now, but I've got 9 months to convince her.
Well, hey, here you go. If she did, you can always you got to learn to compromise. Step number 1, tell her what you want. She does. No, I don't think so. Step number 2, go just completely out of the ballpark. Tell her, okay, I got a better idea. Let's name them Dewan and De'Adawan, and then work your way back from there. Golden.
I'll give it a shot.
By the way,
Just,
Josh.
it's a suggestion.
By the way, Josh, it's a stork. Remember the stork?
Oh yeah, it's a stork. It's a stork.
Or credit card, eBay, something like that.
I actually played
Fantastic.
the game on the 4th, and I watched a little bit of early Doctor Who season 2.
I actually did do one really good thing with the May the 4th weekend. I sort of referred a friend. The Star Wars game was on sale, $25 off, and I had a friend who's been playing WoW, and he's like, I don't know, maybe we'll see. So when I said, well, it's $35, dude, he's like, all right, Bob, come play. Can't beat that.
$35. Why not give it a shot?
Exactly. And it's practically half off. So
Practically. I think for the 4th, what did I do? I went to work because I seem to enjoy that because I'm a glutton for punishment. And I played some Star Wars on different consoles, and I started watching the movies. It took me all weekend to get through it because of different reasons, but I did make it all the way through it. And even at this age, I still tear up because
What movie?
it's Star Wars. Empire Strikes Back.
oh yeah, definitely.
Making sure.
Bespin, the carbonite scene. All right. I can't help it. I love you. I know.
The
I
best
can't
line
help
ever.
it.
That's why I rolled a smuggler right there. Best line
That's
ever.
yeah, you and me both, brother. So I think that's just about all the time we have for. We kind of filled in the last couple of minutes there, but come back and it'll just get better, and then probably worse with my mind, and then better again. So everybody say goodbye one more time.
Bye, guys.
Later on, folks.
Bye, Internet.